Welcome back to Caesars Palace for the 6th Annual National Heads Up Poker Championship presented by GoDaddy.com. The feature table has proven to be no easy match, and both Seidel and Ngyuen have held tight. But Scotty has recently made a charge and now holds a decent chip lead. Let's get back to the action.
You know, it's been for a long time. Me and you sit in the same table.
It's been a long time since we've been at the same table?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't play that much.
Yeah. You don't play that much.
Yeah.
We continue semifinal action. Craig Hummer alongside Ali Najad. Scotty looks at 7-6 and limps in. Seidel with suited connectors. He checks. Scotty up over 200,000 in chips. Scotty makes sixes. Eric with a gut shot straight draw.
And 2 overs to go with that straight draw. Going to cause him to lead out.
He bets 10,000. Quick call from Scotty.
3-ball, baby.
Scotty has the only spade.
Not sure if you heard him. I think he said 3-ball under his breath there. As though he's got a 5 in his hand, looking to represent that gut shot.
Eric bets 20,000. Scotty calls.
Seidel trying to represent a big hand.
3-ball, baby.
Scotty's best hand improves to a flush.
And Eric giving up on trying to buy this pot.
The pot is big enough for me, baby. I have a flush, baby.
Flush is good.
Both players check. And Ngyuen will take it.
Very good.
Pretty tough for Eric to fire a third barrel once the 4th spade hits the board. But in hindsight, it might have gotten Scotty off the flush.
You know, I play around, right?
Yeah.
I would never tell the shot when I tell you have it.
Scotty now up 3-1 in chips.
While Eric is down to 10 big blinds.
6 tray. He limps in.
All right, baby.
8-6 for Scotty. He checks. Scotty flops top pair, but 2 pair for Eric.
16.
Ngyuen bets 16,000.
I just know you're going to do that, baby.
Eric raises to 66,000.
All right. Give it to the man.
Scotty's just going to get away from top pair.
Seidel would have been all too happy to get his stack in at that point.
So much talk about the young internet phenoms taking over, but it's been age over youth for these surprising semifinalists. An average age of 49 and not a single remaining contender under the age of 44 years old. At table 4, Annie Duke, the youngest semifinalist, is currently schooling the oldest semifinalist, Dennis Phillips.
Should probably point out that Annie said it was okay for us to say her age. We wouldn't do that.
Dennis with 9-8 raises to 40,000. Annie with Jack Trey suited.
And while Dennis is the oldest guy left in the field, to be fair, it's going to be a while before he's paying half price for coffee.
She calls. Couple of kings, neither player connects. Both players check. Queen of spades, no help to either player.
And check.
Both players check again. 6 of clubs, Duke's jack high, still best.
65.
She checks.
Dennis going to bluff at what seems to be a completely dead pot that Annie is totally disinterested in. Look at this.
Good call.
Annie looks Dennis up with jack high.
Hell of a call. Got 9 high.
That's something you don't see every day. Wow.
Dennis said it right away. Good call.
We should pay attention to Dennis Phillips from here on out because something like that can really rattle you.
Not one of my easier calls.
Huh?
Not one of my easier calls.
In Annie's mind, Dennis would have checked ace high or a deuce. A king or a queen would have bet the turn. So either Dennis had a 6 or he had air.
Ace 5 for Duke.
How much do you have, Dennis? About 100?
Just a hair over it, I think.
I'm going to put you all in.
She puts Dennis all in. King Jack suited.
Dennis with a little over 7 big blinds. He'd rather be shipping it in than calling it off with this sort of hand.
I only have about 140. I got 20 of it out there. I call.
He calls.
Bear ace. I got the 2 middles. It's either a small pair or a bear ace. I knew one of the 2.
King Jack of diamonds.
Annie going for the knockout blow right here.
Dennis is at risk.
Large crowd moving in, including Scotty Nguyen and Eric Seidel.
Let's make it interesting. Let's put a couple of diamonds up here.
Dennis facing elimination. He's behind, headed to the flop.
Dennis pairs his king.
There goes that horn again. Annie shooting a dirty look in that direction.
Don't put a heart up here.
Here's the turn. Come on. 9 of diamonds.
Phillips still safe after the turn.
Still in the lead.
Anybody else throw an ace away? There you go.
All he has to do is avoid an ace to double up to a playable stack and stay alive.
Here's the river.
That's a statement. Trip kings for Phillips. He'll double up to extend this match. Losing that pot and hearing those horns isn't going to make Annie happy.
At this point, it's tough to decide which one's got her more irritated. How about a little more truck horn for you, Annie? Dennis Phillips with plenty of reason to smile as the kings and court jesters come through, and he doubles up to keep his run alive.
Welcome back to the tournament room at Caesars Palace. We have Oral Hershiser here joining us. Oral, thank you for being here. Can you talk about the field?
Well, the 2 at the feature table, Eric Seidel, he has made it through multi-generations of players, through the internet players and through the old school guys, the Mayfair Club, all of it. Started out 0-5 here in this tournament, and here he is now in the semifinals.
Picked it up this time.
Scotty Nguyen and I have talked poker, but not about the math side of it, more about the psychological side of it. And so Scotty's really, we've seen him take breaks. We saw him take a break and come back against Phil Ivey from 3,000 chips, and here he is now in the semis. And then you think about Annie Duke and Dennis Phillips. Dennis Phillips, more homespun logic, just on the scene from the World Championship in the last few years. Annie Duke's been through it all. Lady Luck has really been on her side. She put some bad beats. Had him back and forth with Jerry Yang and with Paul Wasika.
Yeah.
But the one with Wasika to keep her in the tournament with Lady Luck and her skill,
right.
You got to handicap her near the top.
So who do you like to win?
Well, I kind of like Eric Seidel. Now, Scotty will be mad at me because I'm probably closest personally with Scotty of the 4.
Right.
But I like Eric.
All right. Who has been the best baseball poker player that you've played with?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I have to go back. Some of the audience might not remember, but Enos Cabell. I think he used to clothe himself. Oh, yeah. He used to clothe himself on road trips. He'd start out with the meal money on the plane, and he'd get off with still his meal money plus extra. And I think you'd always see Enos with a new outfit at the end of a road trip.
Well, that means he did well. Thank you.
You're welcome, Leanne.
If you can't tell from the interview, Oral takes his poker pretty seriously, maybe a bit too seriously, Craig. I'm starting to worry about my job.
Hey, I'm not going to break up the partnership, but one of those signed baseballs could go a long way.
Oral reached the quarterfinal round here in 2008, has a very legitimate perspective on this event. I better brush up on my baseball.
Phillips with 9-8, he calls. Annie with 6-5 suited, she checks. Phillips flops a 2-way straight draw. Duke with the flush draw.
32.
After having a check to him, Dennis bets 32,000.
Annie checks. Dennis bets 32,000.
And Annie calls.
Draw versus draw here. Jack of clubs would be interesting.
Annie makes her flush on the turn. Dennis drawing dead.